Greetings, YouTube. Happy Wednesday. We have an interesting offer to talk about for free-to-play players. Now, why do I say free-to-play players? Everybody has units, right? Well, today's offer is about Tier 2 Alpha Catalyst fragments more than anything else. It's going to talk about the Epic Ascendant Crystal, and I'm sure there might be a couple tiers to this because it normally is an intro price of 1,000 units. But at the same time, free-to-play players, they complain sometimes because even though they're free to play, so technically they really don't have a right to complain in terms of money, they still see all these offers for cash that go through, right? And unfortunately, they're not able to take advantage of the Tier 2 alphas for $50 or $33 is the best we've seen, maybe even about $24 for one. But in this case, for 1,000 units, which as a reminder, 1,000 units is in between $30 and $50. So let's just say, for sake of argument, it's like $35 to $40 worth of units. Now, if you're a free-to-play player, that means nothing to you because you only get units through things like Event Quest completion and Arena Crystals. But with that being said, for 1,000 units, you get half of a Tier 2 Alpha, which honestly is pretty good compared to what we've seen in the past. We've seen as pathetic as like 3,600 Tier 2 Alpha Catalyst fragments for 1,000 units. 2 Tier 4 basics, and then the Epic Ascendant Crystal, which could give you the remaining amount for Tier 2 Alpha. It could also give you a fully formed Tier 2 Alpha if you get the 6% RNG. You could also get Tier 5 basics in here, and unfortunately, one of the most common things, and I say this unfortunately because I just feel like a lot of quote-unquote in-game players don't need it, is Tier 4 Class Catalyst Fragment Crystals. Those are just not needed. And I would much rather get anything else, even the Tier 4 basic catalyst, over the Tier 4 class catalyst fragment crystals. But the thing that I would enjoy most about this would be the Tier 2 alpha catalyst. And this is kind of relevant to my account. Better claim this crystal, by the way. Sorry, I'm filming a video and claiming a crystal, but it's a daily crystal, so it's pretty important. But it is pretty important to my own account, and I may be tempted to look at this, but I'm also going for $100 worth of units tomorrow and don't want to bleed into that. But here's the deal. We've got some catalyst here. And in this, we have, for my account, the Tier 2 Alpha catalyst of almost 4. And we need 6 to take up a good old favorite Captain Marvel movie edition to rank 5 for the purpose of Act 6. I also have to remind you, as I continue to review this offer, that in the next 4 days, we will get a fully formed Tier 2. And then after that, just about a week later, we'll get a second Tier 2 Alpha. So you, if assuming you've kept up with the calendar, you will get not 1 but 2 Tier 2 Alphas in the next week and a half or so. So if you're hurting for Tier 2 Alphas, but you only need 1 or 2, that will come free to your account if you have the ability to wait on it. Now, here's the deal. As expected, the 1,000 units unlocks the 3,000 units. It is kind of surprising. I thought maybe this would be available to those of you uncollected and above, because if you're proven, like when I completed Act 3, I was trying to take up 3 stars and hopefully some 4 stars, but I wasn't thinking about Tier 2 Alpha or Tier 5 Basics really. But Tier 2 Alpha, you only need to take a 5-star to rank 4 and a 6-star to rank 2 and above. So kind of surprising that they're trying to get the younger summoners involved in this, but you get 5 Epic Ascendant Crystals for 3,000 units, 1 Tier 2 Alpha fully formed, 3 Tier 4 Basic, and 1 Tier 4 Class Catalyst Crystal. That's the 1 out of 6 RNG. You don't get to choose your class. The Epic Ascendant Crystals, in theory, it's a better value for those because you get 5 times the Epic Ascendant Crystals for 3 times the price. But besides that, part of the confusion for me would be that technically you're paying for 3 times the amount of Tier 2 Alpha as the first one, but you're only getting twice the value because you're going from 18,000 Tier 2 Alpha to 1 Tier 2 Alpha, which is technically 36,000 Tier 2 Alpha Catalyst fragments. So really, if you're even staying consistent with the 1,000 unit bundle, when it comes to Tier 2 Alpha, you would expect, 54,000 Tier 2 Alpha, which would make a lot more sense because for 4,000 units, which is well over $100 worth of units, you should be guaranteed to get at least 2 fully formed Tier 2 Alpha, which then, if you had 0 Tier 2 Alpha in your inventory between this and the next week and a half of the Summoner Appreciation Calendar would give you enough Tier 2 Alpha, which is 4, to take up a 5-star to rank 4, which is awesome. Unfortunately, this deal leaves it short. Now, it does want to remind you of what you can pull in this crystal. So, the Tier 5 Basic Callus Fragments, 4,500 fragments minimum, which is a good chunk of Tier 5. Tier 2 Alpha Callus Fragments, 18,000 fragments minimum. So that's awesome. That does give you the chance to get a fully formed Tier 2 for 1,000 units, plus 2 Tier 4 Basic in if you get the RNG to land on that. And then, of course, a fully formed Tier 2 Alpha Catalyst. Tier 4 Basics, 2 Catalyst minimum, which is fine, but not ideal. Then a Tier 4 Class Catalyst. And then a Tier 4 Class Catalyst Fragments are 50 times those crystals, but that's the worst thing you can get in these as far as I'm concerned. Unless you are somebody that just completed Act 3 and is looking for Tier 4 CCs because you're hoping to take like a 4-star to rank 5 for the first time. And then I guess you'd actually be shooting for that. I think the first deal is like a C+. You know, I get for free-to-play players, especially that don't have access to the normal unit store deals that have these Tier 2 Alpha Catalyst at a far cheaper price, why this appeals to them. The 3,000 unit one, it's appealing for the 5 Epic Ascendant Crystals, but not for the Tier 2 Alphas. Now, somebody's going to make the argument, and I totally get the argument, that if in 5 crystals you open them, you should get an additional 18,000 to 36,000 fragments minimum from the 5. But maybe you won't. Maybe you'll get the worst RNG possible and get 5 Tier 4 Class Catalyst Fragment Crystal, and that'll just be literally the worst thing you can get. But in general, you know, I think the first deal is like a C+, and the second deal, for Epic Ascendant Crystals, it's the same grade given the price tag, but for Tier 2 Alphas, it's like a C. It's better than average, but nothing that I would just say you gotta, you know, sell your mortgage to get this, particularly with a company that is still trying to rebuild certain champions and potentially nerf those champions. So if you're looking for Tier 2 Alpha, just wait a week and a half and get yourself 2 free ones. Lord knows that's what I'm going to be doing. And otherwise, maybe you're going to go for the new Vision that comes into the crystals tomorrow. Either way, if you don't have a lot of revives and you want to jump into this new Boss Rush Community's Choice 2, you're going to be wanting to save your units for maybe revives because this thing can be pretty stressful anyway, but it's only 6 fights, so I guess you can just quit out if it's too stressful? I don't know. Either way, have a great day, YouTube. Thanks for watching, and as always, thank you for supporting my Marvel Contest of Champions YouTube channel.